Okay, hello, parents and viewers. We are January 8th, 2016, um, around noon on the Pacific Coast, and we've got Michale Fetzik, who's on uh, Central Time. Is it Central Time? Okay.
Central Time, yep.
Okay. So Michale Fetzik is a she's a nurse, um, an oromyofunctional therapist, and a fascia worker as well. Her philosophy is that to get proper growth, proper breathing, proper functioning of the cranium and other parts of the body, parents need to do preventative work at a very, very early stage, as early as prenatal. So she works with parents and toddlers. She herself was given headgear as a kid, so she knows the problems associated with it. She understands the impact of growth stunting, and so we're going to spend a little bit talking about that, so you guys know what to avoid. And then the bulk of the time, we're going to talk. Michelle will talk about how what she does can help your kid grow to their best potential. Okay, so so let's get into the ugly part first. So tell us your views on orthodontic growth stunting, and if you think that's an appropriate term, even to call the use of headgears that pull the jaws back, that prevent growth, and fixed retainers that disable a kid's jaws from widening at night, which is when they're told to wear them, which is when kids grow.
Right. So, the whole premise of orthodontics in the West is based on primarily aesthetics. And so the concept of dragging the teeth around by force to create this aesthetic result is really an insult to the rest of the body. And so, unless you consider the whole body, the whole child, what they're bringing to the table, you are really doing that child a disservice. And so, the premise alone of dragging the cranial bones around by the teeth to me is just absolutely not the way to look at a child. And I am that is my experience. So at 15, I was put in headgear, and you've probably read my clinical story. I had it published in Cranio UK, and that PDF is available on my website. It's basically my story. And at 15, I was placed in headgear for an overbite, an overjet, and was pulled back into this beautiful aesthetic result and immediately started having problems. But at that time, you would not have correlated the two. I think the only thing that really saved me at that point was I played the flute, and I played all the time. And that was my myofunctional therapy. That's what helped my breathing.
Okay.
Small inhale, long exhale, lots of diaphragmatic support. So, kids who play instruments a lot of times will do better than kids who don't if they've had that type of orthodontic treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And so later in life, it turns into chronic fatigue, and then it turns into fibromyalgia, and then it turns into TMJ issues, and then migraines, and you're just, falling down the rabbit hole.
Michelle, um, so the industry is, when you say aesthetic, you're talking about the aesthetics of the teeth, right?
Yes.
Because I look at these headgear cases, and myself included, and I see these kids who had a forward grown face, which actually looks better. And when the headgear flattens it, these kids have bigger noses and double chins. And so while the teeth may look aesthetic, the face is actually looks
Exactly.
doesn't look as nice. Is that true, or have you found that to be
Right.
true?
That's my opinion. I mean, I see it too. And not only that, but the body compensations that come into play with their posture when they're trying to breathe with these now changed cranial bones. And so then you've just got compounded postural and structural compensations that create another type of decline in the child.
So bottom line is, if you stunt the growth of the kid's face using a headgear or a retainer, you're gonna by default stunt the growth of their airway. That kid, the first thing that person wants to do is to breathe. So they're gonna compensate by adjusting their posture. They're gonna slouch forward. And because these cranial bones are squished and compressed and stunted, they're not holding the structures properly. You're going to get migraines, TMJ issues, and a downward spiral.
Yeah, unless you address the cranial strain patterns and the fascial system that is the reason that you need the orthodontics, then all you're looking for, is the class one occlusion. And they get that result at the expense of the rest of the body.
I'll just tell the parents what a class 1 occlusion is. Some people don't have that technical background. So, a
Sure.
class 1 occlusion is when it's straight teeth. Basically, there's no overbite and there's no underbite. Okay, so we've spent a little bit of time just telling the parents that what to avoid, right? Avoid headgears that pull bones back. Avoid fixed retainers.
Fixed retainers, the ones they glue behind the teeth that cross the midline that prevent the cranium from achieving its natural rhythm. So the cranium has a natural rhythm of expansion and contraction that is scientifically shown to be beneficial to clean the brain.
Mm.
It's called the glymphatic system. And when you tie the midline bones here, I can actually stop that rhythm. And not only the cemented retainers, but hard palatal retainers that are acrylic
Mm-hmm.
that have the wires in them as well. And so this is a palpated rhythm that you can actually feel in the head. And if that rhythm is stopped at night, the brain does not clean itself at night. And so they've implicated the remaining of these plaques and trash in the brain with things like degenerative brain diseases and dementia and Alzheimer's and things like
Wow,
that.
wow.
So you've got to have these ability for these sutures to do their thing so that the brain can breathe and it can move the cerebrospinal fluid through the body and feed the fascial system.
And what about for growth? Say a kid is 14, 15, and they're told to wear this acrylic fixed retainer at night. Is that going to
Right.
stop their face and their airway behind it from widening?
Right. And so you've got a male at 14 who's come out of orthodontics. Well, he's not completely grown until he's 21. And so you maintain that maxilla in the position of a 14-year-old, and who knows what's going to happen. So even with I have, of course, stories about my own children having gone through traditional orthodontics, and that's my now 19-year-old.
Okay.
And so we're seeing the results of the beautiful result that we got, and his jaw is continuing to come down and grow like it should because he's a big guy now. And so he's having to go back in to orthodontics and get that palate, reshaped to house his growing jaw.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, and extractions, when, they extract bicuspids because they think the maxilla is too small, and
right.
that a problem as well?
Oh yeah, I mean that's my husband. I mean he was a four bicuspid extraction case and headgear pulled back, and now in his 50s he's back in appliances to try to put those spaces back so that he can breathe and sleep.
Hmm.
And so, that's, to say that you don't need your permanent teeth is not good either.
Okay. Okay.
They're there for a purpose. They're there to maintain head shape and space, and they're there for a reason. The big question is, why is the mouth small in the first place? What happened muscularly and with the bone growth and development? What happened in the time and development space there that did not occur, and answer those questions
Hmm.
rather than just saying, oh, well, it's not too big, let's take out some teeth and,
Got
and
it.
make that a nice result.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording just to keep the file size small, and then we'll start again.
Okay.
Okay. Pressing pause.